Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity and a Tuesday tutorial. And today it's AlinaCraft, and I'm going to be using some of what I got in my haul last week and a couple of items from previous hauls, but it's all AlinaCraft. So to help me today, I've got my two little scruffy silicone mats, which if I can pick them up, there we go. I'll just throw them on there. So I've got a couple of silicone mats. I've got the large butterfly stamp. Now, if you want to see that on its back out, all you have to do is look at the haul video from last week. And I'm going to place that down there because that's where I'm going to need it. It is a large stamp. I am, dropping everything. I'm going to be using that leaf stencil from the haul last week, and I'm also going to be using AlinaCraft's label die, and I'm going to be using one of AlinaCraft's stamps, and I want the best moments, that's what I want, and it's going to go onto either the large or the small one. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to be using the AlinaCraft Scallop Edge Slimline, which comes in an envelope set with tassel and a plain stitched background for that. But I'm only using this one, and I'm going to use a brayer, which is really old. Yes, very old brayer, very scruffy. I'm going to be using some paint from, I believe I got this from Michael's, and I'm using these colours. So as we head into autumn winter, I thought we'd have a sort of like summery spring kind of feeling today. So you've got cloudless sunny day and pink polish, and I am pretty sure these are Michael's. Really cheap. I think they're like 50 cents a bottle. So this is the matte quick drying acrylic paint. So we're going to be using those three. And I've already been and die cut, and what I did was I cut in white cardstock a plain one, and then I did another one, but this time I've used AlinaCraft's double-sided adhesive sheets, and you can just cut them down to size and put them on the back of your cardstock and do your die cutting. So this one is adhesive on the back once that yellow carrier has been removed. Now this is the one that we're going to be using because that is going to be the base and the backer. So I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to move the die out of the way, and these other elements that will go on top, I'm going to move those out of the way, and I'm left with my brayer, my stencil and my stamp. Well, first of all, I'm going to use the stamp, and before I do that, I am going off to cut this in half. And the way that I want to cut it, if I can lay it down at an angle, you might be able to see it in the image there. I want to sort of like go off at a jaunty angle somewhere. Whatever I do, I'm going to crop it oddly because basically that's the look that I'm going for. So I'm just going to go and guillotine this, and I will be right back. Right, so after guillotining, that is what I've got. I just chopped it at a jaunty little angle. So you can see my two pieces. Now this is the piece I'm working with first, and it's going to be for my butterfly stamp. So I'll just move the other piece out of the way. Now if I look at this stamp, it's better for me to turn it over to see those images, and I'm looking for which part of the stamp that I want, and I quite like this top area, so I think I'm going to go with that, and I'm just going to place that sort of like where I think I'm going to do it, and I think it's going to be there. So right, first of all, paint. So I'm going in with a little bit of blue. You don't need much for this at all. And then I'm going to put down some pink, and I'm going to put down some yellow. And let's hope the camera stays nice and clear. Right, so I'm going to get my brayer and I'm going to sort of like very gently pick it up onto the brayer without making mud. Can you see that? You've got a lot of texture there. And now I'm going across the area that I think I'm going to like. And you don't want to overbrush because you don't want to make mud, but you just want to get sufficient on there that you're going to be able to pull the print that you like. So that is that. That's how quick that was. And I am pretty sure that what I've got here is going to fill this. So maybe a little bit more there just in case. And I'm going to put this down, bearing in mind that I really like that large butterfly image. Right, that's what I've got. And I'm scroozing. And you want to keep your cardstock still, so keep your fingers on one end while you're rubbing with the other hand. And all you're doing there is transferring the paint onto your cardstock. And then once you feel confident that you've done that, just grab it by a corner and lift, and that's what you'll have. You've got that lovely pretty painterly effect, and it is those spring colours. Now it's water-based paint and it will wash off the stamp. You can even do more pulls from that, so you don't have to worry about dashing off straight away. But I'm just going to pause quickly and I'm just going to throw it in the sink. Right, so I went off and did that, and this is the bit that we've done. So that's going to dry. It doesn't take too long to dry, and I don't know how close my camera's going to let me get today, but it just looks really, really pretty, really quick and simple. Just make sure that you're choosing colours that don't make mud. Right, I pop that down over there. And now it's my stencil bit, and I'm still going to use the same paint that I've got there, and this is the bottom section of the card, and this is the stencil. Now I can be quite naughty when it comes to stenciling, and really you should fix them down, but I'm just going to hold with my finger, and this time with the brayer I'm actually going to blend those inks, or shall I say paints. And I'm going to add just a little bit more blue, because what I want is a kind of apple green that we're creating from this little mess that we've got down here. So let me mix that in, smooth it around. And I think maybe, oh, I don't know, that's not too bad. Kind of got an appley bluey green. Very sagey, very pastel. Right, so I've got my fingers right on the edge here, and I'm just going to brayer it. Right. Oh, this is quite a thick stencil actually. So, can you see that wonderful design? Now what I want to do is I want to pick that stencil up, whoops, and then I want to put this down on here and just roll it. There, can you see that? It's like broken leaves. There's a couple of little white specks, but that just doesn't matter. And if I pick it up, you can see it. Whoops. You can see all that like leafy pattern coming through with those different colours, but it's got a lot more green in comparison to the butterfly, which if I pick that up, you can see it's still complementary, but it's more green. Right, so I'm going to go wash my mats. These will be dry when I get back, and then we'll put the card together. Okay, so those are dry, and you can see they're in two halves. And the next thing that I need to do, and I do apologise if you can hear my dehumidifier running in the background, is I want to use one of these tags, because I'm going to use that sentiment stamp that I showed you at the beginning. And I think for this it's going to have to be the largest one, because as you can see the cut there, the label is what will hide the cut. So I'm going to go off and cut that one in a second, but first let's put all this onto its base. Now, as I said, I used AlinaCraft's tape, adhesive double-side tape, and if you're like me, you're all fingers and thumbs trying to find the ends of things, but it does usually come up quite easily. There you go. And all of that now is incredibly sticky, so I need to find the end here and marry it up accurately. Always remember with adhesives, don't press down until you are absolutely sure. Now, if I've gone off camera slightly, I apologise. I do believe that is it. And if it's not, you'll have to forgive my slight faux pas. And a little white shadow never hurt anyone. Right, so that is the base put down. And now we need our butterfly section. And once again, just peeling off the back of there. Marry up the joints as accurately as you can. And I think I am pretty much going to be left with a bit of a shadow layer, but that's okay, I can live with that. So now our two halves are back together, and the thing that's going to seal them, of course, is that label. So I'm going to cut it in white, and then I'm going to come back. Right, so I've cut my little tag using this set, and I'm doing it just like that. And I've got this gorgeous sort of like natural cotton and sage green baker's twine that Julie sent me in some happy mail. So I'm just finishing the top off with that. And I don't want the top to be, you know, too dangly, too long. It's just a little accent to come off of that tag. Right, and I did put, once again, the double-side adhesive on the back of that, and I'm going to stamp it. I'm using a AlinaCraft stamping block, and I've gone back to my little mini archival after showing you my big pads, because all that I'm stamping at the moment is a small sentiment. So I don't really need to have a huge thing in my hands. Right, let's get this stamp out of here. And take the back off. I'm just going to peel that one off there, and you've got grids on these stamp blocks so that you know if you're straight or not. I think that's straight on there. Probably not. You know what I'm like. If I get it wrong, I just call it a jaunty angle anyway. Right, and this stamp reads the best moments. So obviously I want to make sure that I stamp it the right way around, because I know that I want my twine going off to the left. So yeah, okay. Get my little ink pad lid off and pop some ink on there. I always think it's best when using a stamp block and doing sentiments not to apply too much pressure, otherwise you can sort of like blur and crush. Now I may have to move this down a little bit more so that I can see it, and I'm hoping it's straight and centre there, so not too much pressure on that at all. I'm just rocking it. There you go, the best moments. Right, so now I'm going to wave it around and let it dry. I don't want to put my fingers through it after doing that. So I'm just going to hold it at the edge. I'm going to peel back the adhesive tape, and I'm going to have to tear it off that section there. Tighten up my little doodah bit again. And excuse me if I'm down here. In fact, what I will do is stand up so that you can see. And that is going to go and hide that cuts. I want to kind of like get it there. There. And I've got my little tassely bit. Obviously, you know me and my camera, and big things don't fit. So I'm going to put it at an angle, and then I'm just going to pick it up and try and show you. So there's your 3 shades of paint, and it gives a lovely suede sort of like texture feel to your card. There's your little sentiment there. Just a little bit of twine, which adds a little bit of interest. You could actually put a little wooden bead or a charm or something on there. And there's the brayering through the stencil to get some ink down. And then the design is picked up onto the brayer. And I put it back down so that you've got that sort of like ghosting of leaf going on there. And mingling those same 3 colours, so you didn't have to go off and wash anything or waste anything. And then just added a little bit more blue. So I really hope that you enjoyed that, and I do thank you so much for joining me. Now, I haven't got a clue what I'm going to be up with tomorrow, so that's going to be a big surprise. And as usual, all links below. Bye.